Welcome to Mrs. True Crime. Today's video is an in-depth look into the gruesome murders of Marianne Schmidt and Christine Sharrock, also known as the Wanda Beach murders. It's a tale of aggression and temptation. If you are triggered by anything dealing with death, feel free to click off this video. Perhaps check out my gaming channel, Retell Me Games, for some lighthearted content. If not, I'm Nicole. Let's get started.
As I approached it, it looked like a person laying in the sand, sort of half covered, but the person was face down, so it wasn't a normal position to be lying in. So I sort of scratched a bit of sand away from around the head, and I decided it wasn't a mannequin at all, it was in fact a body.
On January 12, 1965, best friends and neighbors Marianne Schmidt and Christine Sharrock, both 15, were found buried in the sand dunes of Wanda Beach near Sydney. They had been stabbed multiple times. Christine had a skull fracture, while Marianne's throat had been slashed. This case will become Australia's most famous unsolved case of the 1960s. But I'm getting ahead of myself. On October 30th, 1948, in Germany, Marianne Schmidt was born to Helmut and Elizabeth Schmidt. She had 6 siblings: Helmut Jr., who was older by a year, Hans, Peter, Trixie, Wolfgang, and Norbert. A year later, on October 5th in Sydney, Australia, Christine Sharrock would be born to Beryl Mayer, an unknown man who died 4 years later. Though her mother will remarry and move to the suburb of Seven Hills, Christine would not join her, choosing instead to live with her grandparents, Jim and Jeanette Tagg, in West Ryde. While, as far as records state, Christine was born and raised in Sydney, Marianne and her family migrated to Australia in 1958, starting off in Melbourne. For 4 years, the Schmidt family would bounce around from hostels in Unanderra to Temora. In '63, Helmut moved the family one final time to West Ryde after being diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. He would die a year later. Now supporting 6 children on small welfare payments, Elizabeth holds the family together as best she can. The one guiding light are her neighbors, the Taggs, and their granddaughter, Christine, who instantly connects with Marianne.
They've been like twins. I don't know, they just clicked when we moved in. She was a nice girl.
Much like sisters, Marianne and Christine did almost everything together, which included checking out the surfer scenes, gasping at boys, and rocking out to the latest tunes. Though extroverted to one another, the 2 best friends were quite shy to anyone else. They didn't have boyfriends, despite diary entries of crushes, and they hung around one another more so than any other child at school. Their shyness didn't stop the pair from doing outgoing things, such as traveling to Wanda Beach for New Year's, which was the only beach accessible through train at the time. The beach became the girls' getaway, making frequent trips prior to their deaths. While there, they made their way north to the Wanda Sandhills. Marianne would visit the beach twice, once with her siblings, and again with her entire family. Upon the second trip, Marianne left her family for more than an hour to go to Wanda. She never explained why she left. In early January 1965, Elizabeth fell ill and had to be admitted to the hospital. In her absence, Helmut Jr. and Marianne would be in charge. On January 9th, Marianne and Christine went to visit Elizabeth and asked if they could take the younger kids with them to Wanda Beach. Elizabeth agreed on the condition they'd keep a close eye on the children. January 10th was terrible weather-wise, so the girls waited until the 11th. On this morning, Christine, elated, told her grandmother that she'd love to walk through the sandhills again. Her grandmother insisted for her not to go because of the distance and having the children present. Christine attempted to argue, but to no avail. For the trip, Christine packed a thermos of cordial, a non-alcoholic fruit beverage, a beach towel, a small purse containing a £1 note, a pair of sunglasses, and a small radio. Marianne packed a few sandwiches and some fruit. Around 8:30 a.m., Christine, Marianne, and the 4 youngest walked to the train station to go to Redfern. Brothers Helmut Jr. and Hans stayed behind to clean the home. Once at Redfern, Sister Trixie, aged 9, would later recall to the police that the girls spoke to a boy around their age at the station. They all would go their separate ways. Around 11 a.m., they arrived at Cronulla filled with disappointment, as the beach was closed due to winds and strong seas. No matter, they went to the southern end and settled near the rocks. While there, Wolfgang, aged 7, wanted to go for a swim. Reluctantly, Marianne takes him to a shallow end and they splash around a bit before returning to the group for a picnic. At some point, Christine left the group. Where she went and what she did is unknown, but she returned a short time after. Wolfgang would recount to the police of seeing a boy hunting crabs with a homemade spear while they settled in. The spear was about 1 foot long and wooden, made from a packing case. A barbed wire was attached to 2 ends made with copper wire. Police would later find his spear and a pair of black swimming fins abandoned on the beach. The boy spoke to Marianne and Christine, but Wolfgang didn't hear the conversation. After lunch at around 1 p.m., Marianne suggested a walk to Wanda, so the group left their belongings behind some rocks and began to travel north to Wanda Beach. About 125 miles past the Wanda Surf Club, or a walk of about 30 or so minutes, the kids began to complain about the walk and the aggressive winds. So, Marianne and Christine told them to stay put near a small rock shelter Wolfgang had found so they could retrieve their bags. They put towels over the children for protection and left Christine's radio for them to play with. The walk back would take close to 20 minutes, so 40 round trip. However, the girls start to walk in the opposite direction towards the sandhills. Peter, aged 10, yelled that they're going the wrong way, but they just laugh and disappear into the sandhills. After a while, Peter tells Wolfgang to go look for the girls. This is where Wolfgang sees the same boy as before talking to the girls. Though his description will vary from hair color, height, and build, he was initially described as having fair or light brown hair, medium build, wearing gray trousers and a blue towel, carrying a knife in his holster. Wolfgang described him as angry and asking for the girls' names. Wolfgang opted not to follow them, and the girls and boy disappeared deeper into the sandhills. Minutes later, the boy resurfaced without the girls. Wolfgang asked him where the girls were, but he didn't reply. Over the course of time and interviews, Wolfgang's recounts of the events and boy changed. Peter and Trixie never saw the boy in question. After waiting for hours, the children head back to the south end and collect their things and head home. This was at 5 p.m. At 8:30 p.m., the girls were reported missing. The following day, Marianne Schmidt and Christine Sharrock's bodies would be found on the same beach they loved. Though this is the end of the video, this is not the end of the investigation by any means. Who were the boys the girls had spoken with that day? What did the autopsy show? And why was there now a 10,000-pound reward on their line? All this and more in part 2 of the Wanda Beach murders. I'm Mrs. True Crime, and remember to be kind, be loud, be aware. For more information about the Wanda Beach murders, why not check out some of these awesome links? And if you liked what you saw and heard today, why not drop a like and a comment? Maybe subscribe while you're here? I make new videos every Tuesday and Friday, and you won't miss what's in store.